Today on Light of the Word with Pastor Ray.
When you hear the word of the Lord and you come into a place and then all of a sudden it doesn't turn out, I just said, step out, see what happens. Who cares? Oh, it might fail. That's exciting. Well, guess what? It might start looking like it's failing. It might start looking like I didn't hear from the Lord. And you go, no, I did hear from the Lord. And therefore, I know I'm in the right place. It might be your marriage. It might be the ministry. And you go, no, the Lord spoke to me. And therefore, I know this is where I'm supposed to be. And I'm not giving up on the word that you spoke. And I'm going to hang on to it. I'll make you a great nation.
Open your heart to us, Lord, so we can know your word. We come before you, Jesus. Speak to our hearts as we discover your love for us. How wide, how deep, how far. Pour into us so we can learn to follow. One surrender at a time. You have made the way for us to know you, a path that's straight and right. By the light of the word.
In this world, people are often taught to be careful about whom they trust because so many things in life can fail us. But today, Pastor Ray wants you to know that there is one person you can always trust, Jesus Christ. No matter what you've been through or what you may face in this life, His promises remain true. When you belong to Jesus, you can rest knowing that He is faithful, that He walks beside you, and that His plans and promises for your life are always for your good and His glory. Well, let's join Pastor Ray in the book of Genesis chapter 46 for today's edition of Light of the Word.
As we pick up here in Genesis chapter 46, Joseph has been sold into slavery 22 years. We know that story. The famine in the land, and now he's been made second in the land, and the family comes down, and we've been through these chapters of the testing of the heart of the brothers, and it's come to that the brothers' hearts have been changed, and we see that clearly in their life. And Joseph, in last chapter of Genesis 45, he reveals himself. It's a shocking moment for the brothers. Then he says, oh, my father is still alive. And for where we pick up here today in Genesis 45, verse 26 is where we ended last week. And they told him, saying, Joseph is still alive and is governor over all the land of Egypt. And Jacob's heart stood still because he did not believe them. But when they told him all the words which Joseph had said to them, and when he saw the carts which Joseph had sent to him to carry him, the spirit of Jacob their father revived. Then Israel said, it is enough. Joseph, my son, is still alive. I will go and see him before I die. I will go and see him before I die. Verse 1, Genesis 46. So Israel took his journey with all that he had and came to Beersheba and offered sacrifice to the God of his father, Isaac. So we pick up here, and I think there's something to be said here. We're going to see that Jacob has to be driven on the cart. He's of this age. He's about 130 years old at this time. And like his father Isaac, grandfather Abraham, he's probably thinking, hey, I'm up in age now. And he'll say it a couple times, before I die. In this chapter, the last chapter, I think he's thinking that he's at that age, that I'm going to die here soon. Interestingly, like his dad and granddad, he's got some life living to go still yet. He's about 130 years old, and he's going to live to be 147. But I just sit there and I pondered those things as I thought on these things. And, there's a power in knowing this, that God holds our breath in his hand. Not telling anybody anything new, of course, but I think we can forget it because life is so daily that we wake up, we got to do the, domestic duties and chores and the menial work and these type of things. But Psalm 90, verse 12, so teach us to number our days that we may gain a heart of wisdom. Daniel chapter 5, verse 23, and the God who holds your breath in his hand and owns all your ways. There's just the wisdom, church, where we go, I should count my days. I only have a set amount of days for a certain period of days in my life. And when I come to that realization, then I go, well, how should I use my days? Because there comes the wisdom of, I don't have an endless supply of life. And so how should I be living my life? But then there's this place that I come to, but wait, you hold my life in your hands. And therefore, as Revelation, as we read the testimony of their witness, nobody's life comes to any end, just like we read in Revelation, until the testimony is over. And God says, your testimony is done. Come on home and hear these words, well done, good and faithful servant. And now when I look at these things, I go, I have this amount of time in my life, but it's determined by the God who holds my breath in his hand. Therefore, nothing can happen to me and nothing can change these things based on those type of things. And so what I'm just going with before I start with is, you know what? Go for it. What is it that you've been thinking about that God has spoken to you about? Is it a ministry? Is it, I'm going to teach the children's church, or I'm going to go on a mission trip, or I'm going to go on the outreach up to the city on Saturdays, or I'm going to go and be part of these things? And I just think there's a place to step out and just go, what do I got to lose? And we're going to see how God will speak to us. The title of the message is Fear Not, because that's what he said, but God's preparing us for the journey ahead. And I can just step out and go, I don't need to fear. What is it that you have for me? I'm going to step out and trust in you. And I was just talking to a pastor who, was saying, hey, we might lose our building. We might be homeless. You know what I said to him? How exciting. I go, the excitement comes when the possibility of failure is there. What's exciting about everything being predetermined and I know the outcome? But to know that I could possibly fail, to know that, this could not go the way that I'm thinking or whatever it may be, that brings the excitement. And that's what brings the excitement to your life and to my life when I sit here and I just go, I don't know what tomorrow holds. And I'm going to step out, and then therefore I have one thing and one thing only. I need to call upon the name of the Lord. Lord, this might fail. And apart from you, this could be a total disaster that happens here. And then we'll start building on those type of things. But the Moravian missionaries who were set out hundreds plus years ago, 200 plus years ago, they would launch out into places that people would go, that's just crazy. And they would all say the same thing after their last day, and they would get on a ship and people would come to the shore and they would be waving goodbye, and they would have a saying that would go something along this line of, may the Lamb who is worthy receive his inheritance. God came, died for us to receive an inheritance, which is us in the book of Ephesians. This is amazing. You would consider me an inheritance? Aren't you my inheritance? The answer is yes. But may the Lamb who is worthy receive the offering of his inheritance. Here's my life, Lord. You died for it. I completely trust in you. What is it you want me to do? He may be calling you to go missions. He may be calling you to do something even far bolder and more scarier. Teaching Sunday school. There. I'd rather go across the sea, I'm telling you. And it's beautiful getting this opportunity to be used by the Lord or whatever he has for you. So he comes to Beersheba as we pick up on that. And Beersheba is the border before you go into Egypt. It's as far as you can go in the land of Canaan before you enter into Egypt. And I like what my one pastor friend, he said when I was talking with him of that the sand there before you enter into Egypt is really hot. And here comes Jacob, and he's feeling the heat of the sand right before he enters into Egypt, and now he starts getting cold feet. Because if you start to consider what we're talking about here, let's read on and consider these things. Verse 2, and God spoke to Israel in the visions of the night and said, Jacob, Jacob. And he said, here I am. And again, worth noting, it's always interesting when God talks to men, Jacob, Jacob, Moses, Moses, Saul, Saul. He has to say it twice because men are like, huh? What? Are you talking to me? Women, we don't see that. He doesn't say Mary, Mary, he doesn't say Ruth, Ruth, but here's men, huh? Oh, you're talking to me. I believe it's partly a sacrifice of praise. Thank you that my son's alive. Thank you for, the provisions that you give me. But now I think he's in this place. And the power of this verse that we're looking is he had ears to hear. He's listening that God might speak, and he has ears to hear to go, what? Here I am, Lord, speak to me. And that is just a powerful place for us in our lives in that are we still that God can speak to us? There's a place that we can just start getting into a place of life. What do I need to hear anymore? I know you spoke, and I do this. I know that you spoke, and you do that, and these type of things. And here, Jacob comes to this place where, here I am, Lord. And he's going to sit. I need to speak. Because here's what we look at in our passage today as we consider these things. Verse 3 and 4. So he said, I am God, the God of your father. Do not fear to go down to Egypt, for I will make you a great nation there. So first thing up, obviously, God who knows the heart knows that he's fearful for some reason. Hey, fear not. Whatever he's fearful about, and I think we'll possibly know here in the next verse, fear not. Maybe you just I don't know what's going on in my life. I don't know what's next in my life. And God will speak to you and say, fear not. And I love the beauty of this, and especially anyone who's going to step out or anyone who thinks, and I think there's a place. Maybe there's a place in your age that you go, well, there's nothing really left for me. I've passed the time that I would expect you to do something like this in my life. Hey, Jacob, he's 130. He's got 17 more years to live. He thinks he probably only has another couple breaths in him. He might not even know if he's going to make it to Egypt. And I think there's a place in your life that you may feel, I think there's probably not much more left for me. And now I just kind of ride this out until the Lord calls me home. Do you realize Jacob's going to enter into the greatest years of his life? He can't even walk the 3 weeks. He's got to be carried, we'll read here. But he is going to be taken, and he's going to get to experience seeing the son that he thought was dead. He is going to get to see not just Joseph, and they're going to weep on each other's neck, but he is going to get to see his boys, all 12, united. They have not been united. They have been divided. They have been lying, scheming, cheating, and everything else. They've now just finally have come clean before their father. That was a lie. Joseph did not die by a wild beast. It was us. We sold him. But Dad, we are in this together. We have a reconciliation and restoration with our brother. We have been forgiven. We have a family together, and we're all going to come together. And he is going to get to live the greatest years of his life, because the greatest years of the life will always be when a family is united. And the family is together in love, following after the Lord, and God building and forging a nation and doing great things. And that's what he does with this nation of Israel. And that's what he'll do with our homes. And here he comes, he gets to experience the boys being one, his family being one, and then he's going to get to stand before the greatest man on the planet. Pharaoh at the time, the strongest nation in the world, and he's going to get to proclaim a blessing upon him. His later years are his greatest years. And God can do that for you, regardless of your age. And I think there's just a place where you go, you know what, Lord, you're not done, and therefore I'm not done. What is it you have before me? And it doesn't matter what your age is. And I love this, as I said, hey, maybe God's calling you to step out. There's a place we all need to be stirred. I will say it to myself because it's easy that I can find myself just relaxing into, oh, this is what we do on Sunday. I know what I'm doing Monday and all these type of things. And then when you go, no, Lord, what is it you have for me? Then you hear it and you go, fear not. He'll speak because he'll say, wait a minute, I wasn't expecting that. And then we wait upon the Lord, and he speaks to us. He brings us this peace. No, this is what I'm calling you to do. This is where I'm calling you to do it. And I know it's a big step of faith, and there's a lot of challenges that come with it. And, I'll be the first to say, just to be honest with you, we joke. Me and my one friend, we joke, we make this look easy. That's our joke, is like when you misquote scripture and, you're like, oh, that's right, that's not in John, that's in Luke, and all these type of things. And, oh, wow, you make this look. Well, this week I get on an airplane, and I go to Nepal, and I meet with 100 pastors. And I'll just be transparent and honest with you. I believe I'm probably the last guy that should go. I got all these other friends, and I go, why don't you go? And I can hear the Lord say, fear not. Fear not. Because when I said, Lord, should I be the guy that goes? And the Lord spoke, just to reaffirm it. He spoke to go 3-4 months ago. Then he spoke last week of, Ray, can you abide in me? Yeah. Can you just sit at my feet in the morning and wait upon me? Yeah. And then can you go and show them and tell them of my glory? Yeah, I can do that. Then I have this peace. I go, I can do that. And I love this verse in that I will make you a great nation. For whatever God's calling you to do. I don't need to make the great nation. I don't need to be anything less than Jacob, go to Egypt, and I'll make you a great nation. That's all he had to do, was get to Egypt, and God would make the great nation when he got there. And whatever God's calling you to do, whether it's to go to Nepal or whether go across the street, get involved in whatever it may be, I am the one who makes, not you. You just need to follow and be where I've called you to be. And there's just a power and a freedom in that. If you hold my breath, if you count the number, you've got my days measured and counted and all these things, and you're the one who makes the great things that come for your glory, then all I got to do is just be walking where you're leading, and I can rest in that. And here comes Jacob. He's going to go down, and here's the Lord speaking. Verse 4, I will go down with you to Egypt, meaning you go, I'm going with you. You don't go alone, whatever the calling may be. And I will surely bring you up again, and Joseph will put his hand on your eyes. He's given a promise to the whole nation of Israel. And the power of this is, and the place that we're going, the vitalness of these verses is that God said to go, and that I will go with you. Because he's going to walk in, and there's going to be a time that's going to be prosperous and beautiful. And then there's going to be a time that comes, and then there arose a Pharaoh who did not know Joseph. And the children of Israel will go into 400 years of slavery by God's design. And you can be sure of this, when the hard times come, they would be sitting there going, should we have done this? We shouldn't have been here to start with. We're not in God's will, and that's why we're under this oppression. That's why these bad things are happening in our life, until someone would go, no, the word of God spoke and said, go to Egypt. We have a calling that this is where God has called us. And we will see, and I'll give the big picture up front is, God's calling the 70. He's bringing them into an incubator. They're going to be insulated by the greatest military world power around them. And God will take them through the fires of the furnace that slavery would bring them into. And he will take 70. When they walk out of here, it will be 2.5 million. And when they leave and they do 40 years of wilderness wandering, that forged steel will be undefeated in the battlefield. And then they will go and they will take what God's called them and they will enter into the promised land and they will establish a nation that still stands 4,000 years later. That's power. But when they come and they go, should we be here? Somebody comes and says, the word from the Lord said yes. When you hear the word of the Lord and you come into a place and then all of a sudden it doesn't turn out, I just said, step out, see what happens. Who cares? Oh, it might fail. That's exciting. Well, guess what? It might start looking like it's failing. It might start looking like I didn't hear from the Lord. And you go, no, I did hear from the Lord. And therefore, I know I'm in the right place. It might be your marriage. It might be the ministry. But you go, no, the Lord spoke to me. And therefore, I know this is where I'm supposed to be. And not giving up on the word that you spoke. And I'm going to hang on to it. I'll make you a great nation. And oh, the power that we see here. And he says, you're going to go down. You're going to see Joseph. You will die in the honor of Joseph, the tenderness, and that's what it means. He will put his hand on your eyes. You know, that's the closing of the eyes. It's the last act of tenderness by a loved one of putting that. And then we know that the nation of Israel will come. But, there's this thing of, fear not. Why is he fearful? Joseph's in power, provisions upon the land. What's there to fear about? Well, here's the beauty as we look at these type of things. Isaac, Jacob's father, don't go to Egypt. And now we're going to see this place where God will tell one, don't go, tell another to go. And everything looks right that I should go. Joseph's there, he's providing a provision. But then he's probably thinking, I'm on Beersheba, and I start thinking about this. There was a famine in the land. Genesis 26 for you note takers. Besides the first famine that was in the day of Abraham, we'll talk about that here. And Isaac went to Abimelech, king of the Philistines in Gerar. That's the border town there on Egypt. In Egypt. Then the Lord appeared to him and said, do not go down to Egypt. Live in the land which I shall tell you. Wow. That didn't go well when Isaac went down there. And now I'm thinking of going down, and I remember my dad being directly told, don't go down there. But now I think of granddad, Abraham, Genesis chapter 12. Now there was a famine in the land. Oh, wow, this is really sounding familiar. I'm in a famine. They were in a famine. These things are lining up in the land, and Abram went down to Egypt to dwell there, for the famine was severe. Oh, that was probably nothing compared to the famine we see. Verse 11, Genesis 12, and it came to pass when he was close to entering Egypt that he said to Sarai, his wife, indeed, I know that you are a woman of beautiful countenance. Therefore, it will happen when the Egyptians see you that they will say, this is his wife, and they will kill me, but they will let you live. Please say, you are my sister, that it may be well with me for your sake, and that I may live because of you. Yeah. So when granddad went down, he got himself into a lie. He lied to save himself. He was willing to put my grandma in this harm's way. And then he has to sit and go. And you know what? One of the greatest problems in my family is my family, Esau and Isaac.
You have made the way for us to know you, a path that's straight and bright. By the light of the word.
This is Light of the Word, and we're in the book of Genesis. There's a reason why we should start at the very beginning. So much formative information is written and communicated in the Bible based on Genesis. God sets the stage, describing who He is, what His purposes are for mankind, and the desperate need of a Savior to rescue man from his own demise. From the days of creation through the Eden story to the story of Noah and the flood, It's rich with color, as well as providing life lessons to learn. Then you get into the saga of Abraham's lineage. Many high points are brought to your attention, as well as several areas where each person fell short in his own way. But God doesn't value people based on perfection. He cares most about a person's heart and what's done after falling down. Do you stay in the dirt and mud, scrounging to find a way out on your own? Or do you reach out to God for His help and guidance? This idea becomes evident throughout Genesis as various people and groups sought after God, and some ran the other way. We trust that what you're hearing about in the book of Genesis is having a profound impact on your life and drawing you closer to Him. To gain more teaching insights, go to lightoftheword.info. That's all for today from Light of the Word, illuminating the heart of God.
You have made